Today's community member tracks her budget down to the cent.
I put every single thing I buy down, from like coffee, rates, kid stuff.
It still doesn't feel like she has it under control.
Look, I started the year wanting to do a no buy year or a low buy year, but I'm not even close.
Our expert is here to help.
She gives herself $175 to spend on clothing and ends up spending $750. If your best friend was spending like you are, what advice would you have for her?
I would say...
Welcome to Get Started Investing, a podcast where we help you make the most of your money. My name is Bryce, and as always, I'm joined by my equity buddy, Ren. How are you going?
I'm very good, Bryce. Very excited for this episode. We are back with our latest episode of Boost My Budget.
Yeah.
In these episodes, we get real equity mates and Get Started Investing community members in the studio or on the line, and we review their real budgets. And then with expert help, we show them how they can track better, save more, and stress less.
Before we get into it, we want to thank Pocket Smith, who are also helping our community members track better, save more, and stress less through their online spending and tracking platform.
Pocket Smith connects to your bank accounts and automatically categorizes your transactions so you can actually see where your money is going each month.
That's it. So if you have big goals like saving for a house, building your emergency fund, investing, you name it, Pocket Smith helps you track your money so you can get ahead.
A big thank you to Pocket Smith for helping us produce this Boost My Budget series and for offering each community member who comes on 12 months free access so they can continue the journey after leaving the studio. And if you want to try Pocket Smith without coming on the show and revealing your budget to us, you can get 50% off your first 2 months of Pocket Smith's foundation plan by going to pocketsmith.com/equity mates.
Alrighty, well, we're excited for this one. We have Lexi here. We have Kara, our community member. So let's jump straight into it. Well, Lexi, welcome back to Get Started Investing.
Thank you for having me.
Good to have you here. And welcome to Kara, who has, put her hand up to have her budget scrutinized. Kara, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So, Lexi, for those that have just joined Get Started Investing for the first time, can you just give us a little bit about yourself?
Financial coach, servicing Australia-wide. So I help people with their cash flow, getting their income up, managing their expenses, and hitting those big life goals.
Nice.
And I think for people who didn't listen to the last episode, you were a former financial advisor, but you decided that cash flow was where Australians needed the most help.
Yeah, it's pretty much the foundation of any good financial plan, in my opinion. And it was something that wasn't necessarily overlooked, but I don't think is given enough attention in financial planning world. So I lean hard into that and feed that back to the advisors who can then work their magic.
Love it. Well, if you want to get in touch with Lexi based on today's conversation, head to equitymates.com/advice and we'll put you in touch. So today, as we said in the intro, we've got to boost my budget. We are putting Kara and her budget under the microscope for Lexi to have a look at and provide some ideas on how to improve it. We want to start with a game though, Kara. Lexi has had a look at your finances and tells us she has a bit of an idea on who you are. So Lexi, why don't you tell us who you think Kara is based on her finances, and then we'll get Kara to confirm.
Kara is very detailed in her spreadsheet. It's a single income household, 2 kids and a mortgage. She budgets everything down to the last cent and has really good intentions to spend less, but seems to fail all the time. She gives herself $175 to spend on clothing and accessories a month and ends up spending $750. So she doesn't think that's sustainable. And her spreadsheet that she does use is quite onerous, and she thinks that she could be doing things in a better way.
Nice.
Okay, well, I mean, you seem to know a lot. So.
I did pick up a couple of extra things as well. So Kara opts for premium brands. She spends very little on eating out, about $50 a month, which is probably one of the lower spends on eating out that I've seen.
Wow.
And she also picks up some extra income working at elections, about $2,500 in the last year. And it's something that I used to do as well. So it was really cool to see that.
Nice.
So, Kara, how well does Lexi know you?
Yeah, I think pretty well. Yeah, so I'm from Sydney, from the Northern Beaches. I work in local government and I work on projects mostly.
Nice.
Yeah. I think my budget was 350 on clothes, not 150, but I blow it nonetheless.
Did I say 150?
I think so.
You did,
Yeah.
175 a month.
175.
That's
yeah.
175.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not even close though. But I wish I only spent 175 a month. Look, I started the year wanting to do a no buy year or a low buy year with clothes because I thought no buy would be too restrictive, but I'm not even close. I think one thing I'd like to add is that probably my number one value is health and fitness, and I don't know if that comes through my spending because you don't need to spend that much to be healthy and fit. And I like to catch up with friends as well and go for coffee. I don't spend a lot on coffee, but I value relationships and health and fitness.
And this is beside the point, but I'm intrigued by this making money from elections thing. Well,
Yeah.
how you guys, what's your hustle there?
Ren's looking for a side job.
Yeah.
Well, they come around fairly regularly. There's local, state and federal. So, whenever they do, they always need people to work for them. So I always put my hand up. And every time I do, I say I'll never do this again because it's such a long day. And if you look at the pay per hour, it's not that great. But it's like a little bit of extra cash and we all need it in this.
Are you the person that's marking off people as they come to vote?
I was actually the second in charge last time. So I've moved up the ranks.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that was all volunteer.
Same. It makes sense that they pay. Yeah.
It's a long day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, we want to dig into your financial journey a little bit more, Cara. So when you take a sort of step back, look at your budget, how you've constructed it, like how do you think about your money?
Well, I get very granular with my money. So my journey was, I suppose, I came from having a double income household where I didn't really look at my budget a lot. I made sure, what was coming in was more than what was going out generally. But then going into a single income household, I really had to know what was coming in, going out. And so that's when I started my spreadsheet, which is, very detailed and to the cent, probably about 5 years ago. And I just have continued on. It's like brushing my teeth, I add my coffee in my spreadsheet.
Nice.
Bryce is also a big spreadsheet operator. I would love to compare your two spreadsheets and see which is more detailed.
Yeah, I know. I'd love to see your spreadsheet.
We'll do that.
I've shared mine.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we'll get there one day.
So I guess if you take a step back from your spending and how you track it, like, do you have any overarching financial goals? Like, what do you want to achieve with all this granular detail?
My goal initially was to buy my unit and to buy a place to live. And so all my cash flow all my savings went into looking to get into the mortgage, that we all want, to buy property.
Yes.
And once I did that, then I started investing, which was probably about 2 years ago. So I was late to the game, but you say it's never too late.
It is. I mean, you've got a place, you've got an investment portfolio, you're ticking a lot of boxes.
A very small investment portfolio. But I guess, my goal isn't that lofty. I want to retire by 60. And I want to own my house, my unit outright by then, and be like my parents. Actually, they're like goals at the moment. They're traveling the world, and like that's what I want a comfortable retirement, basically. So. Yeah.
It would probably warm your parents' heart that you want to be like them.
Probably, yeah.
So, Lexi, I think if you have a look at Cara's spending and you think about those goals, what does Cara's spending say about her and, how is she working towards those goals?
I think we're going to be spending a lot of today talking about one particular category, but on the whole, if we look at Cara's income, she's on about $150,000 a year before tax. She's covering all her bills. She's just said she's investing. She's also saving for holidays. She's doing really well. So today is more about optimizing things more than actually, fixing anything.
Great. Love that. Well, do you want to start taking us through some of the key categories and some of the insights you've drawn out?
Yeah. So if I'm interpreting your spreadsheet correctly, Cara, you had about $20,000 in your offset 12 months ago, and that is basically nothing now, but you did spend about $19,000 on things around the home. So bed, dishwasher, I think there was a fridge, all of those.
All the white goods.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you've probably got another
And black
7
ones
years
too.
before you do that again. So otherwise, what's coming in is going out, but that does include that investing and that saving. I am curious, if we're looking at the numbers, you said you gave yourself a clothing allowance of $175 a month. Where did that number come from? Did it just pop into your mind?
350.
It definitely says 175. Maybe it was 175 a fortnight, but you've written monthly.
Yeah, because that would be 350.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I'm getting the sense you're blowing it regardless of what the target is.
I am definitely. So how did I get to that? Was the question. So I guess I just work off a zero-based budget. So, I've got my income and I see what I have to pay, phone bill, mortgage, groceries, etc. And then what's left. And I really tried to give myself the maximum I could for clothing. And that was all that, I had left, when everything else was accounted for. So that was the number I picked. If I could have given myself $700 a month on clothing. No, I probably wouldn't have done that because that's pretty bad.
I did notice though that your saving for holidays and your investing amounts, they differ each month. So how are they determined? Because I noticed that even though you're saying $0 budget, there are some months that are showing as a deficit in your spreadsheet. So tell us more about that.
Holidays should be fairly consistent. I think I do $150 a week, perhaps, or maybe 100, something like that. Investments, it depends on my income, and if I get a little bit more income, I'll try and put that more to investments.
Okay.
I think investing is like spending, and so I get excited about investing. It gives me that dopamine hit, and so I think I'm really good at spending on investing. Even if it puts my emergency fund in a deficit.
Before we just go any further, can you explain, Lexi, what the zero-based budget is?
So you basically give every dollar a job. So if you earn, let's just call it $500, you allocate every single dollar to something. So it might be 100 to rent, 50 to electricity, and so on and so forth, until you're left with $0 budget.
It's probably like the most conventional form of budgeting, isn't it? You have a spreadsheet with a line item and every dollar is accounted for. It's what most people would think of when you think of budget.
There's so many different ways that you can do things. Like you'll hear some people talk about percentages, and they'll allocate 50% to their needs, 30% to their wants, and 20% to future them. There's not one right way. And sometimes people will try one way, it won't work out, and then they're just give up. So, if that's you, if you're listening and you've tried it before and it didn't work, so now you're just, flying blind, then maybe it's time to look into what other options there are.
So what else stands out about Kara's budget when you look at it?
If we can maybe drill down a little bit more into this clothing spend, when you've given yourself, say, $350 a month for clothes and you are looking at your cart online and the total's $460, what goes through your mind in that moment?
Look, I do sometimes give myself 24 hours, but I don't find that works. Like, I still want it. I just think I'll make up for it next month. I'll spend less.
Yeah.
But then I don't. And because I had that buffer of emergency savings, which has, as you rightly said, has dwindled, it just kind of I was like, oh, don't worry about it. I'll start again next month.
Yeah.
But you're right. I do like to buy probably less but better, but then I buy too much, less but better.
You did make a really good point there that next month you'll try and do better. And that ties in with my next question to you, which was going to be, do you have any idea on why in April you spent far less than the month before and the month after? But you've basically just answered that for us.
No, I do know. There's a particular, because I booked a holiday to Bali for the kids and I. And I definitely went way over my holiday budget before, I built it up. So I was like, right, I really need to pull back. And so I think I did for a month.
So those numbers, just to give people a clearer picture of what we're looking at here, month one, the clothing spend was $900, month two, $270, and month three was $1,100. If I break that down to like a weekly figure, yours is $173 a week. Yes, that doesn't include things like gifts, but I think that maybe it's not as high as you thought it was, or maybe it's not as unrealistic.
Okay, so you're enabling my
I was just going to say.
I think that's great.
I do have some tips to optimize still, but I don't want you to think that, I don't want you to have necessarily negative emotions around this stuff, because you will have to buy things, particularly with growing kids. It's really frustrating when they grow.
Kids is a separate budget though.
True, yeah.
But there was not included in my budget.
You got an out, Lexi.
I know. You said to be transparent, right?
So, Lexi, we've spent a lot of time talking about the clothes budget. I guess based on your experience in working with a number of clients you have, are any of the buckets lower than you would have thought or higher than you would have thought? Do any of the actual buckets themselves need adjusting?
When I was going through Kara's annual numbers for insurances, that was actually I guess you could say surprisingly low, and I wanted to then check, and I did have a little bit of a dig and saw that Cara does have private health insurance because that is helping her avoid the Medicare levy surcharge. In terms of other insurances, sometimes I find that people think their car is insured and it's not. So, always a good idea to check things like that.
Is your car insured?
I have every single insurance that you could possibly get.
Really?
Nice.
So you found some good deals on insurance then?
I do. So I insure my car.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't have is contents insurance. But I've got TPD, I've got life, I've got income, I've got all of those. Private health, but no contents.
Cara, can I just ask, Lexi mentioned $50 a month on eating out.
Yeah.
What's the secret? Is it a lot of forward planning or?
Yeah, I like eating out. I didn't think it was that low.
I've just had a look as well. Coffee is outside of that. So it's still not a lot though.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's an extra $20 a week on coffee. Alcohol was normal.
What does that mean?
For people who are just listening to this as a podcast, we got some inverted commas there. What's normal?
Hang on, let me just...
while Lexi's working that out, what do you think you're spending on alcohol?
It's about 75
a
month.
That's pretty good.
That's far.
Right?
So
I
I think of numbers like this in weekly format, and it's $20 a week on alcohol, and that's why I say it's normal, because it is quite common for me to have that figure for a single person on alcohol. But then I also have others who don't drink alcohol at all, and then I've got others that alcohol might be $250 a week. So that's why I say normal.
Okay. I feel like all these categories are coming in really well. Like insurance is low, spending, eating out is low, alcohol is low. Surely there's got to be something that's high, Lexi.
Clothes.
I mean, surely aside from clothes, we've covered clothes.
No.
What are you investing? Like, how much are you putting away?
I've just increased it to $250 a week.
Oh, nice.
On VAS and IVV.
Yeah.
Just go on the two, set and forget, listen to you guys, take your advice. You're the ETF guys, right?
We are. We're
Index
the index
boys,
boys.
Yeah, that's it.
And then there's also cash savings on top of that.
And
That
there's
you put
no
away for
cash
holidays
savings.
and
Oh,
or
yeah,
whatever.
sorry. Yeah, there's holidays.
savings for holidays.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
is still spent,
Yeah.
but you are doing a
But
fair
like,
few
I mean,
trips.
that's saved cash that is
Yeah.
towards
Yeah.
a purpose.
So, Cara, I guess if we think about your budget, you've got what budgeting, method you want to use, zero-based budgeting. It sounds like you got all your categories like sorted down to a T. You may be overspending on retail, but aside from that, it sounds like you're doing pretty well. So I guess the question is, what were you hoping to get out of coming here today? Was there things in your mind that you thought you could be doing better or you want to work on?
I thought the way I actually budget could be better. I don't mind the spreadsheet, but it is quite onerous. It's very detailed. I do have to go in and I put every single thing I buy down, from like my coffee, rates, kid stuff. I thought maybe there's a way I could do my budgeting better.
Well, Cara, we are going to pause there and take a quick break, because on the other side, we're going to turn to Lexi for some ideas on actually how to improve your budget. So we'll be right back.
Well, a massive thank you to Pocket Smith for helping us produce this series, Boost My Budget.
If the cost of living has you feeling tight, have no fear, because Pocket Smith is here to help give you confidence.
Pocket Smith connects to all of your bank accounts and automatically categorizes your transactions so you can actually see where your money is going each month.
You can forecast your cash flow so that you can plan ahead, and it's super useful for tracking your goals like saving for a house or building that emergency fund.
It even gives you a full view of your net worth with investment tracking via ShareSite.
So if you would like to manage your money like a pro, Pocket Smith has a special deal for all Equity Mates listeners today. Get 50% off the first 2 months of their foundation plan. All you need to do is head to pocketsmith.com/equitymates. Welcome back to Get Started Investing. We are here with Lexi, who is boosting the budget of community member Cara. And before the break, Cara, you mentioned that you've come here today, hopefully to, I guess, get a sense of how to improve the actual budgeting process. You're feeling it's a bit onerous, tracking every single cent, and some different, I guess, strategies to make that less overwhelming, but still effective. So we're going to turn to you now, Lexi, for some key takeaways for Cara, some key improvements. But I think if you can keep in mind what Kara's just sort of said, and maybe some ways that you can approach cash flow management so that you're not having to track every single dollar that you're spending.
Well, thanks to you coming on the show today, you actually get access to a free tool called Pocketsmith, which, funnily enough, I think will work really well for you. Like, as we've spoken about before, certain things work for certain people, and given your level of detail and your willingness to spend time, because it does take time to set up Pocketsmith well, it's a great tool once it's set up, you can then set up alerts as well and be able to track a little bit faster than what it's already taking you and really use tech to your advantage. So I think that you should definitely lean into that and give it a couple of months and see if it works for you. And I think it just might be that magic tool that is the thing that keeps you on top of your finances, keeps your finger on the pulse, and working towards your bigger goals.
Can I ask with how you set up your money if you've got sort of zero-based budgeting, do you transfer to multiple accounts?
I do. Yeah, I've got quite a few buckets. Like they're all linked to my offset.
Yeah.
But I probably got about 6 to 8 different buckets. Yeah.
Nice. So, Lexi, what are some key, I guess, actions or takeaways for Kara to think about?
Well, I actually want to ask Kara a question.
Yeah.
If your best friend was spending like you are on retail, what advice would you have for her?
I would say that when you die, you can't take your things with you. So maybe spend on experiences.
Oh. What tends to trigger your clothing purchases? Have you noticed? Like, is it marketing emails, or is it an event that you need to go to, or your mood or stress?
It's probably like doom scrolling on Instagram and seeing the thing or the influencer, and you think you're immune to it and you're like, no, I won't be affected. But then it's in your mind. And,
yeah. But when we're looking at ways to improve things and to optimize things, it's trying to turn off these triggers. So if it's scrolling on Instagram and if it's these ads, you can actually turn off some ads and hide things in Instagram and other social media platforms. So maybe looking into something like that if you are noticing that's your trigger.
Yeah, probably the mall as well. If I go, do grocery shopping at the mall, there's other shops.
So maybe
they smell good. You walk in.
Maybe finding a shopping centre that doesn't have those retail shops as well, like the standalone places. Or maybe it's doing the online, like click and collect, or the delivery even. Like even if you're paying for delivery, it's still going to work out cheaper than going to those retail shops.
Yeah.
So I've got some other ideas. And yes, there is a clothing focus because this episode is going to be really good for those who are like Kara. So I'm going to give you a few different options, not for you to do all of them, but for you to think, oh yeah, actually, I want to do that one. So the first is to create a wardrobe inventory where you actually write down everything that you've got and how often you wear it. And depending on how much you have.
Wow.
Yes. So the next one might be more your style, and it's called a wardrobe wins album, where you basically take photos of all your favorite outfits. And so when you are online shopping, you might flick to that album and have a look and remember all of those things that you already have. You could also try no spend weeks after payday. So, you can spend, if you're getting paid fortnightly, you can spend in the second week, but that first week is off limits, that week where we tend to feel a little bit richer. Also working out how many hours things costs you. Have you ever done that before? Like if, on $150,000, it's about $50 an hour after tax. So, if you're buying something for $450 working out, is this going to cost me, 9 hours of my life to have?
I do that in terms of holidays. I'm like,
yeah.
I could have spent that $800 going towards a holiday that I could have had with the kids.
Yeah. And so it's finding your things that you really value and the things that bring you joy and trying to have that trade-off discussion with yourself. Any thoughts around any of that, things that you think might work better for you?
Yeah, definitely. The one where I'm thinking about the opportunity cost of spending on clothes to something else and the hourly rate, that's definitely something that I think would work for me because that sort of pulls up my emotions and the other things that I want to spend my money on and the values I want to live my life by, I suppose. Yeah.
Lexi, what do you think about just limiting access to cash full stop? Like having money or where it's annoying to get access to, or you need to go through hoops to get it?
Well, let's ask Kara how, if you didn't have access to money, what would happen?
I think that's superannuation. Because otherwise it's really easy to access money, even if it's in a different bank account. It takes 2 seconds to transfer. So you still know it's there. So it might work for some people, but I think it's really easy to access money.
Yeah. And I think if Cara was living beyond her means, maybe the conversation would be a little bit different. But at the moment, she is living within her means, and maybe we want to build up that offset account again, and maybe we do want to knuckle down a bit and try some of these things and really go back to basics again. But it's good to see, no extra debt and things like that.
Well, I can speak to the Pocket Smith experience because it's something I use, and it once you do go through the process of setting it all up, to be honest, I don't really use the spreadsheet anymore because this you can do it quite granular. You can get it down to any category you want, and it's like live update for every transaction you make. Bang, bang, bang. It'll categorize it, and you can just log on, set your menu up, and away you go. So it kind of does take away that, because I was the same as you. I used to literally go through every single statement. Yep. And it was just pointless.
Well, no, it had a point. It was just
text caught up.
Slower than
Text
it needed
caught
to
up.
be. Yeah.
So I guess some key takeaways there for you, Cara, to think about when it comes to the clothing bit. I mean, all in all, it seems like you're doing a solid job.
Okay.
And I think in terms of what you were saying around, like, can you budget better? I mean, give Pocket Smith a go, but from the sounds of it, Lexi, like, the answer is probably no.
And sometimes though, with looking at things, why I really drilled down into retail today is because we know everything else was okay. And I find it less overwhelming to know that you just have to focus on one category rather than feeling like you've got to cut corners everywhere. So now you just know that that's the one area. It's not astronomical, but it can do with some work. You've got some ideas of what you can do. See how you go. But you're doing really well.
Well done, Cara. So I guess how are you feeling after that? Better than you thought it would be? Worse than you thought it would be? You're going to go on a shopping spree this afternoon?
No, I'm actually going to do a whole no buy for the rest of the year. I'm really motivated. I'm going to do it until Black Friday comes around.
Yeah, well, that's towards the end of the year.
Yeah. I reckon if I can make it till then.
The end of the year is a really long time. Do we make a more realistic
probably
option? Maybe at least until the 1st of August, just 1 month, and then
I could do
reassess.
that. Yeah.
Then reassess, see how you feel.
Well, Cara, thank you so much for submitting. It was we know it's not easy coming in and being transparent with all your money. We hope that you've got something out of it today. You've at least walked away with 12 months of Pocket Smith that you can plug all your transactions into and set all of that up.
And think about it. All the time you save on tracking your spending, you can spend on online shopping now.
Oh no, what have we done?
It's actually very true. And you have to log in online to do Pocket Smith. So you'll get the tab open right next to it.
No, but we really do appreciate you coming in, Cara, and sharing your transaction details. If you want to share your budget, even if you don't have a zero-based budget like Cara, would love to see it. Lexi would love to give you a hand. Head to equitymates.com/contact to submit there.
And Lexi, as always, thank you so much for coming in and helping us through that today.
Thank you for having me.